Hi, it's me, and today I thought it would be fun to do the book addiction tag. I watched this on Murphy Napier's channel, I want to say last year, and I'm just now getting around to it. So there are 14 questions. Let's just get started. So question number 1 is, what is the longest amount of time you can comfortably go without picking up a book? I want to say comfortably go, like before I start getting like agitated or like antsy and like really wanting to read something. I want to say it's probably about 2 weeks. Like I went several months without reading a book when I was having just like a very very dry spell, let's call it, with reading. And I was very uncomfortable like the entire time. Question number 2 is, how many books do you carry on your person or Kindle at any one time? I mean, my Kindle app on my phone, I have all my books on there. Everything's not downloaded. Digitally, I'll just carry everything because it's there. But I guess technically, I'm just carrying around the book that I'm currently reading digitally. And also physically, I don't usually carry more than 2 books with me at any one time. Most of the time, I want to say I just have 1 book on me, but there are a few times a year where I'll have like a poetry book and a graphic novel, or a poetry book and like a novel, or I'll have like a graphic novel and a novel. Every once in a while, I'll lose my mind and I'll have like a poetry book, a graphic novel, and a novel with me, and that's just excessive. But I would say most of the time, I just have the book that I'm reading physically, and I'm just focusing on the 1 ebook that I'm reading and the 1 audiobook that I'm listening to. I don't sound crazy yet. Question number 3 is, do you keep every book you buy / receive, or are you happy to pass them on to make space for more? No, I don't keep every book that I get. I only keep the books that I like, or the books that I like enough and they're also pretty enough. And I usually have a tendency to want to keep anything that I might want to like go back and flip through later. So no, I am so happy to pass on a book, to give it a chance to find a happy home. All right, question number 4. How long would you spend in a bookshop on a standard visit? Okay, I'm assuming by like standard visit, they mean like I'm not in a hurry. So that means I'm going to the bookstore, with the intent and purpose to browse and like see if I find anything interesting. I would say probably an hour. I've never timed myself in the bookstore. Maybe I should, as like a fun experiment to see how long I'm actually in there. But I think I'm probably in there for about an hour. I hardly ever go to the bookstore without a book in mind. Like, it just about never go into the bookstore without, like, just to browse, I guess. I used to do that. I used to go and just, like, look around, and then maybe I would find something to buy. So I'm usually pretty purposeful. Like, I look at, if I'm in Barnes & Noble, like, I'll look at the new releases, and then I'll go and find the books that I went in there to buy. And then, like, I'll go, like, check the classics and, like, the graphic novels to see if there's anything that I want over there. So yeah, I'm not usually in there just too long. I would say like an hour. Question number 5 is, how much time per day do you actually spend reading? I mean, it depends on the day. Like, I can spend no time reading. I can spend 30 minutes reading, or I can spend 6 hours reading. Sometimes I really, really want to finish a book, and I will read that book until it's done, even if I'm reading most of the day. It just depends, but I think on average, I'm probably reading, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour a day, I guess. I have no idea. Because I read more, like the amount of time I spend reading in a day is higher the closer I get to the end of a book. So I don't think I have like an actual like daily average. It just depends on where I am in the book, what else I'm doing, whatever. Question 6 is, where does the task of picking up a book appear in your daily to-do list? I don't know. It's on there. And if nothing else, I'll usually read some in the shower, like ebooks. So I don't know. It's in the middle somewhere. Sometimes I read as soon as I get up in the morning. Again, I'm probably close to the end of the book when I do that. A lot of times it's like towards the end of the day, like maybe 9 o'clock at night. We're gonna read for an hour or two. Yeah, I don't know. I don't analyze my reading habits. Question number 7 is, how many books do you reckon you own in total, including ebooks? I mean, I've had this question in the tag before. I actually do have a list of all my physical books. And the reason why I have a list of my physical books is because I have a list of my like physical movies. And that's just because back in the day, there was this really large used bookstore. They always had like movies on sale. And when I got my current entertainment center, I, cleared off the old one and I had my movies in stacks by like genre or whatever. And I had multiple copies of like 3 different movies. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm like very organized, okay? So for me to have 2 copies of 3 different movies, I just thought that that was just terrible. And because they kept having these sales and it would be like buy 2 get 2 free, like that kind of a thing. And then I ended up, yes, with multiple copies of a few movies. And so I decided that while I had all my DVDs just out on the floor, that I was going to make a physical list of every single movie that I own, so that the next time I was in this bookstore, I could just check my my list. I keep calling it a bookstore. I guess it was a media store, multimedia store, whatever. But I was like, next time I'm in the store, I can check my list. If I'm not sure, I can check my list to make sure I don't have this movie. And then I decided, oh, I should do that with my books in case a flood carries all my books away or something. I don't live in a place that's likely to flood, but I think the terminology I used was like a flood or a tornado blew all my books away, whatever. And so I just wanted to have a list of all the books that I had so I could replace them. So I actually do have a very good idea of how many physical books that I own. I don't know how many ebooks I own exactly. I know how many ebooks are on my TBR, but I don't know how many ebooks are in my read folder. And not all my ebooks that are read are in my read folder, because I also have a nonfiction folder. And then I also have like a whole lot of ebooks that I'm not planning on reading. But I keep them because I'm like, what if I run out of books to read? I can pick from this stack, I know. Anyway, so I would say I probably have about 1,200 books. It's between 12 and 1,300, which I feel like is probably quite a bit higher than the last time I had this question in a book tag, but maybe it's not. Oh, I didn't include audiobooks. I don't know how many audiobooks I have. Probably 25. I don't know. I've never counted them, and I have them on 2 different apps. Oh, you know what? Speaking of different apps, I have ebooks on my Nook app that I didn't count in that because I was only counting my Kindle books. But yeah, it's in the ballpark. About or around. We don't need an exact number. Question 8 is, approximately how often do you bring up books in a conversation? I mean, at least a couple of times a week. Like I talk about what I'm reading. I talk about what I want to read. I talk about books that I bought. I talk about rearrange my bookshelves again. Fun fact, I'm rearranging my bookshelves again. I have a stack of books on my desk already because I started rearranging stuff already. It's not like a massive rearranging. It's just like I just want them slightly different. So I'm gonna be doing that. I've already started working on it, and then I remembered that I came in here to film a video. So I was like, why don't you do that before you like take all the books off of this section, and then there's nothing there, and then I'm looking at it the whole time I'm filming. Because I notice I don't really look at the camera that much when I'm filming. I'm mostly looking in the living room when I'm filming, and I'm not sure why. I think it helps me think. But to answer the question, I bring up books in the conversation at least a couple of times a week. And then, you know, people I work with, they tell me about the books they're reading. And it's really fun. Okay, question number 9 is, what is the biggest book page count you have finished reading? I mean, that's easily The Witching Hour by Anne Rice. I just finished the reread via audiobook. That book is over 1,000 pages long. The mass market paperback is over 1,000 pages long. Question number 10 is there a book you had to get your hands on against all odds, i.e. searching bookshops, online digging, etc.? Yes. Okay, so when I was a teenager, I found L.J. Smith, and I was obsessed with getting my hands on every single book that L.J. Smith has ever written. And at the time, some of her books were out of print. So like the original Vampire Diary covers, like they were out of print. And then like her debut duology, that was out of print. And I found Vampire Diaries at a used bookstore and like freaked out. And that only left her debut duology, which I think the first one is The Night of the Solstice. I finally found that when I was in college, because I don't give up. I finally found that a library was selling them, and I found them, and I was so excited. I got my hands on them, and so they have like the library binding and stamps and stuff. And then I had everything she'd ever written, and my collection was complete. And I'm like, all we need is for her to finish the Night World series. And, you know, I gave up on that years ago, though. So the book would be The Night of the Solstice by L.J. Smith, and whatever the second book is, whose title I don't know off the top of my head, but I did read all of these books. Some of them multiple times. Question 11 is there a book you struggled to finish but refused to DNF? Yes. I do this at least once a year, and then I'm really mad at myself. And we're trying to stop doing this. So, but when's the last time I did this? It wasn't that long ago. Actually, I think it's happened a few times this year. I think it happened just a couple of months ago. I don't know the name of the book off the top of my head. One I can think of off the top of my head is The Echo Wife. Don't remember the author's name. Sarah Gailey? Yeah. I didn't want to quit on it because the premise made it sound like something exciting was going to happen. And so I'm like, surely somebody else is going to die. Surely a body is going to turn up. Like, surely something exciting is going to happen here. You know, I'm like, surely. They're not just going to sit around and talk about their feelings for the rest of the book. So I refused to quit because I just thought something was going to happen. I thought I was reading a different kind of book. And that made me sad. Kind of put me in a mini slump. Which is why we need to stop doing things like that. So question 12 is, what are 3 of your main book goals for the next year? So my main goals are going to be, I want to read between 60 and 75 books. I think I'm going to set my reading goal probably for like 57 books, but I have like a invisible goal of reading about 60 to 75 books next year. And then I don't want to stress myself out, so I don't want to set my reading goal too high, you know, and I feel like the 50s is just like a good place that keeps me like motivated, but like doesn't stress me out, because we don't want to be stressed out when we're trying to have fun anyway. And speaking of having fun, my second goal is to DNF books faster when I'm not enjoying them. For some reason, sometimes I have it in my head that if I really hate the beginning of the book, that it's probably going to get better, but it never gets better. So I want to stop slogging through books and DNF those books faster rather than torture myself for an extra week saying I'm going to give the book an extra chapter or two, and then I'm mad, and then I experience like a little slump where I don't want to do anything except, you know, watch Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever streaming service I'm overusing at the time. So I kind of have, again, like probably another invisible goal. It's a goal that would be nice to hit, but it's not a goal that like I'm going to be mad if I don't ever get there. But I want to get my TBR down. So I want to get to the bottom of my TBR or close to the bottom of my TBR. And one of the ways I'm going to do that is we buy less books. And of course, another way we're going to do this is we're going to DNF books we're not enjoying faster so that we're not wasting time with books that are not bringing us joy. But we'll see what happens. Okay, question 13 is, have you ever had the privilege of converting someone into a reader? Maybe via inspiration or incessant nagging. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. One of my coworkers recently texted me and my sister to say that we got her reading fiction again. So that's good. I think when she first started working there, like she pretty much said that she just like read nonfiction. And so over the last like year and a half, I've, you know, been like encouraging her to like read fiction. And so like she'll read a fiction book and then she'll be so excited and she'll tell me about it, and then like I'm super excited, and I just think that excitement feeds off of itself, and then she wants to read more fiction. But she was already a reader. But yeah, but I don't know if I've ever turned somebody into a reader. I was super excited when my brother started reading a lot though. I did nag him a lot. I don't know if it helped though. So the 14th question and the last question, which isn't a question, it's a prompt. It says, describe what books mean to you in 5 words. So let's see. Mostly when I talk about why I love reading so much, it's because I say it's like an adventure for the mind, you know? And so it's like an adventure without leaving home. I talked about this before also. I don't like real roller coasters. I really like virtual roller coasters. And you can do things on the virtual roller coaster that you can't do on the real roller coaster because it's not safe. So, and also real roller coasters are scary. And I just rather not really actually be going anywhere. I'm more of a active imagination kind of a person than like a go bungee jumping kind of a person. But anyway, that's all for this video. And I'm going to get back to taking all the books off my shelves. Not all the books, just these sections. And I've already adjusted the books that I wanted to adjust on the side. So, and this will be staying the same, I think. All right, so that is all for this video, and I will see you guys next week. And yeah, bye.